everyone. This is Gail here again, and you're welcome to the channel if this is your first time, and if you are returning, thank you. And I just hope you keep loving my videos, and I would be so glad if you could watch to the end and then like the video if you enjoyed it, and then I'm sure you're going to enjoy it as well. And then subscribe and then click the notification just so you are made aware when I post any new video. So today I'm just going to do a part 2 of what I did before, the video I did the last time. So I was talking about some of the things that you need to do or you need to get when you are new to the UK, and some of the first few stuff you need to sort out when you are in the UK. And I think I mentioned a couple of stuff. If you haven't watched that video part 1, you can just go watch part 1, and then just to keep yourself informed. So this is part 2, and I'm going to start with creating a bank account. So one of the things that I think you need to do is to create a bank account. I mean, of course, if you came here because of work, you need to have a bank account because you're going to be paid at the end of the month. Everybody basically needs a bank account. Like if you are going to be transacting anything with regards to money, you're going to need a bank account, and there are numerous banks around. So with most banks, when I was new, the only thing they asked from me was my ID. So at that time I hadn't even gone for my BRP, so I just had my passport. So I just they just requested for my passport and then address, yeah. But as at that time it was my trust which was accommodating me, so I didn't even know the address. They asked me to provide proof of address and stuff, and we didn't have it. And I mean, if you give them your address number, they'll ask you for a proof of address. So if you've been here for a while, you know what that is. You have to provide council taxes, you have to provide history of utility bills, you have to probably give them an electoral roll registration or something, like anything to prove to them that you really live in this address, right? So I didn't have anything like that. I had been here for just a week or two. I didn't have any proof. So what we did was we contacted our trust to give us a letter that indicated that they were accommodating us in that address. So we had someone who was communicating with us from the trust just to get us through the various processes that we needed to go through in order to have a successful settlement, I would say that. So we spoke to them, and then they gave us a letter which said that they had given us accommodation in this address, and they confirmed that we live in this address. They did it for all of us who were being accommodated in the address, so we just gave it to the bank. So the banks knew that we were not lying about living in that address, and then they proceeded to open the bank account for us. And then they just told us that in a few days we're going to get our passwords and then our debit cards in the mail, so in the addresses that we put in there. So we're going to get, and of course, because they're going to send sensitive information to your address, they have to make sure it's you living in that address. So yeah, that is the reason why they want you to prove your address, amongst other things, I think. So yeah, they sent our passwords, and then they sent our debit cards, and then it began from there. We have our cards, and then zero amount. It was like 0.00. There was nothing in the account. You don't have to have any money in the account. You just have to open it. And then our trust was able to pay money into the account. We just gave them the sort code and the account number, and then they did that. You don't have to give your PIN to nobody. You don't have to give your card number to nobody, unless of course you're making an online payment, which and then they require for online payments. And you have to make sure that any online account that you're buying something from, it's secure, because once you put your card number and once you put your password, that is it. If anybody wants to hack your card, it's so easy. They've got all access to they've got all the information they need to take everything you've got on your card. So if you're buying anything online, you have to make sure it's a secure service that you're using. So apart from opening a bank, the next thing I want to talk about is Once you're living in the accommodation of the hospital, you're sort of shielded, but time is gonna run out, and the month or 2 months or however time they've given you to live in that accommodation is going to come to an end, and you have to make sure you are sorted to get an accommodation before that time comes. And there are lots of places to get houses from. We've got Spare Room, and Spare Room usually basically gives you information about houses where you have communal spaces like the lounge. Most of the houses on Spare Room, because you've got people living in there already, it's furnished, it's got sofas, it's got kitchen stuff, utensils and bowls and plates that you can use. It's got beds in the bedroom, wardrobes, chairs, everything that you might need. Is you just have to move in with your things. And the only downside to it is you're going to be living with people you don't know about, and yeah, you just have to hope you get along with them, so that should be fine. It's fairly easy to get, and it's way cheaper than most of the houses on the other platforms. And you've got another platforms. We've got Zoopla, we've got Rightmove, and we've got Open Rent, and these are separate websites to one of these homes where you have to sort everything out yourself with furniture, bed, everything. You can register onto platforms like I Need a Whisk on Facebook. There are lots of platforms where people give things for free. People give beds all the time. People give sofas and blenders and kettles and cookers and TVs and stands and curtains and a whole lot of things for free, just to help people settling in. No, I'm sure there are other platforms, but you can just ask around and get more information about that. Right, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is registering with a GP, which is a very important thing. So when I came, I took like a long time before I registered with the GP because I didn't see the essence. You know, we think we're from Africa, so we're all strong and everything and healthy, but you really need to register with a GP. You never know when you might fall ill. No one knows when they're gonna fall ill. So yeah, you need to register with a GP, and usually it's not difficult, and everything is online. Just put on Google how to register with a GP. You just first go on by searching for GPs near me, and then with your location it will just search GPs near you. You can check reviews to see how they're doing, how people think about them, and then with that information at hand you can decide to go for that GP, or you can just swipe, but you have to make sure it's close to your residence. You don't want to travel too far to access the services of a GP. And registering with a GP is free, so you can go ahead and register. And even if your visa status is not up to date, whatever it is, healthcare is a must in this country. You have to get the healthcare. In about 4 weeks, they're going to give it NHS number to you in your post. And your NHS number is what you use to access healthcare, whether in the hospital, by the GP, wherever you go. Everybody's going to ask for your NHS number, which is very important. And if you are here on a health and skilled worker visa, on the Tier 2 visa, you don't have to pay a health surcharge. You are free to access healthcare like a resident, but you still have to pay for dental care and eye care and some services as well. And a whole lot of other visas require you to pay for a health surcharge. So you have to research. And if you're here already, probably that has been sorted already, because your visa will not be processed if your health surcharge is not paid for. So that is it about registering with the GP. But of course, if you haven't registered with the GP, that does not prohibit you from accessing healthcare. If you have an emergency, make sure to go to the hospital. You will be taken care of. You don't need to have an NHS number to have emergency services, but you need it just to make your own life easier, just to help the service as well. So that is it with GP registration. Now the next thing I want to talk about is knowing your rights. This is a country founded on laws, rules, regulations, and principles. and you want to know what you are entitled to. You don't want anyone to trample on your rights, because it is very easy for people to do that. You might think they are going to do it. They are really going to do it if they know that you don't know what you are about. If they know that you don't know your rights, they are not going to tell you. No one is going to tell you. So you need to read wide. You need to read your contract with your hospital, things you're entitled to. Most hospitals have got an intranet, and you can just Google, just search anything you want to have to know on the intranet. You need to seek information, speak out. I think if something is not going on well, they have that responsibility of making sure you are safe, you are happy, you are settled. They're going to respect it. They are reasonable people, and if you speak up for yourself, if you speak out what you feel, what you think, what you expect, they will see your point of view. They will respect it. So I think I'm probably going to end it here today. There are so many things. I mean, come to think of it, the kind of thing, the stuff that you need to do is unending, you know, career development wise, getting information wise, so many other things, but you cannot capture everything in a YouTube video. So yeah, I'm gonna end part 2 here. So it's been awesome having you with me on this journey today. I hope you have learned a lot. I have learned a lot in my research as well, and in just speaking with you, I have learned quite a lot. If you have any comments, just drop it in the comment section. Kindly like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell, just so you are alerted of every time I drop a video. Yeah, you will be alerted. Thank you so much for staying with me up until now. Bye bye.